Hello, everybody. I'm Victoria L. We got my girl Maggie. We got my girl Tanya. We got my girl Cherie. And we're back again. Thank you so much for coming in. You could be anywhere else, but you're here with us. We know that this is such a critical time right now in the African American community. So we give homage to those who have been affected by what's going on, because we're all affected. And let you know that we support you, we love you, we cherish you, and we support you in all that we do. So with that being said, we want to go ahead and continue the show. So I want to give it to Maggie and see what we're talking about today, girl.
Right. Definitely had a lot to say. Everybody. So if you've been following us for the last few episodes, something was brought up last week as we were talking. And the question was, what's our perception, or how has society, our upbringing, our households, what we saw when we were growing up from our friends' parents, how has it shaped our perception of how relationships should be? Because Victoria brought up in the last episode that she sees plenty of older married women that are out here living their best lives while their husbands are at home. And there's no issue with that. So I said, will people have issue with it because you saw your parents in one light, or you saw your friends' parents in one light, so that has molded you to say, this is how my relationship should be? Or has society told us something? So that's what I want to open up today with. Victoria, Tanya, Cherie, how has what you've seen in your household impacted how you think your relationship should be?
Me personally, I would say it has impacted me a lot, because from my standpoint, I'm coming from my parents were divorced when I was young, and both of my parents have been married 3 times, and their longest marriage has been with their third partner. And
3 is a charm. 3 is a charm.
And both of them are successful. Right. They have been married 10 plus years. So on my dad's side and my mom's side. But with that being said, growing up, I grew up with my mom, which was a single parent household. And then when I was in first grade, my grandmother came to live with me, and she was single. So the environment that I was in was kind of old school. A lot of people say I have an old soul. So I did not see my mom dating a lot, which she wasn't finna do that anyway. But I will say
But why? Why?
Why?
Tanya,
in my thinking
Tanya,
of dating.
Tanya, why did your mother not date? Why do you think that your mom didn't date when you were in the house?
I don't know. She probably just didn't want to bring a lot of men around, I'm guessing. I don't know.
Okay.
And then plus,
and
we were heavily in the church. The community that we were in.
Yeah.
The community that we were in was a church community. So we were already in like 11 community, but she did get married when I was in high school to her second husband. So she dated, but as far as who she brought around when I was in junior high, high school, it wasn't many men. Like I could think of maybe 2 men my mom dated when I was in junior high, high school, and then one of them she married. So she did get married. And with that being said, though, he also got divorced when I was in college. So I know one of the things when I dated, I always said, and plus I have a brother, an older brother, which we all have older siblings.
Yes.
So I used to always hear,
twins.
When you have older brothers, and the community we come from, we hear stories about the people who got around. And so I knew in my mind, I did not want that. So I did not want to be known as a girl. So I didn't have no boyfriends in school. Plus, I did not want to be dating anybody because I thought something else was attached to it. I didn't want to be known as that girl getting around. So plus, I didn't get with my parents and the community we were in, the church community. I didn't want to be perceived as that girl that got around because, we were in a loving church, multiple people, a big church. And those who were together, and they were in loving homes. But me being from a single parent home, both of my parents being divorced, being married 3 times, I remember I just always used to be like, oh my gosh, you know, I kind of want to get it right the first time and be one and done. So it could be a little fear when I date, like, not that I build a wall, but I would say now I look more so, and I probably say this over and over again, I really look more so at core values. Attraction, of course, attracts me. I like, you know, many of people, but like,
different types, different kinds. Yes, you like them all.
Fine over there. So, I be saying all of that. Okay.
Yes, you date them all.
Mm-hmm. For the most part, I think that has definitely that perception of the family unit being just mom, a dad, and a brother and sister, because I have multiple, you know, brothers and sisters because my parents were married, you know, most of the time. So that's just what I see. That's just from me. So I don't have a problem, you know, even now that I'm a single mom, I don't have a problem meeting guys that have kids because I come from a blended family. I know how to make it work. I've seen it work. I've seen get along. You know, my dad's kind of a homebody, but my stepmom loves going. He goes to the parties. He does everything. You know, also, both of my parents, they're like, the relationship with their significant other too is a big age gap.
What's the age gap?
I mean, why I like.
What's the age gap?
Right.
What's the age gap? Please tell.
But anyway,
do tell. What is the age gap?
That's just me. That's just me. So age ain't, you know. I don't
what's the age gap, Tanya? Tanya, what's the age gap?
15 years. 15
oh, Lord,
years.
All right.
15 years on my dad, between my dad and my stepmom, and then I think it's 15 years too with my mom too. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I know it's definitely over 10.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So that's why you like older men. Okay.
Definitely. And that's why I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
Even those 2 totally different generations. When you pass 10 years, that's a whole different generation. But
yes, it is.
It can work. It can definitely work. So in my eyes, I can see, though you might have had some mistakes, you might have not got along with somebody, I see it working. So I'm okay with divorce. I'm okay with not always, you got to stick with somebody and make it work. So in my eye, my perception is it can work. Blended families can work. You can get married at an older age. You can have children at an older age. So I'm optimistic. Love is love. And I think that's why I always, like, you're not going to see me be the one. Yes. So, you know, I'm kind of optimistic about love, but I also am a little guarded where, like, the first one who I do want to marry, I do want it to be right. So, yeah.
Okay. Riri, what's on your mind?
Girl, I'm over here listening, honey. Cause you know, every time we like have these conversations, we learn so much about each other all over again. We be like,
hello.
Even though we know so much about each other,
correct,
but we still find something new.
right.
Ain't that something? Or I'm over here like, oh, I remember that time she was dating that dude.
Exactly.
You know your parents' business. I remember him. I remember him.
Y'all remember?
Right. We remember him very well. From the church. Okay, from the church. Which is a whole other conversation. Dating in the church. Anyway, go ahead.
That's hilarious. But for me, okay, so I'm also a single parent home, but I'm single and never married. So so I'm gonna start off with this because my home life is quite different from the rest of the ladies on this call. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm gonna start off by saying that I'm very grateful and appreciative that we met at a young age, so I could witness, at least see somewhere in my time of growing up that there are relationships that work
that there are relationships that do get divorced, but they still are optimistic about being married again. That there are a family unit that just works through the hard stuff. It might not have been the perfect thing, but I'm grateful that I was able to witness that.
Right.
So I'll start off with that. So my story is, my mother is never married. I have an older sister, but I have like 6 uncles and 1 aunt on my mother's side, and most of them are all married. But the thing is, they've had multiple marriages that did not turn out grand. They were not the best of men at that time to show me how to date or what to look for in a man. The men that my mom did date, I did not like them at all because I didn't feel like they could be the man of the house. Like, I think the Lord was really just speaking to me at a young age, and I didn't even know that the men that she was dating were highly disrespectful, not like beating or nothing like that. It's just how they were talking to the woman, how they treated the woman, or, you know, things of that nature. So I grew up in a home where we was that independent woman household. Okay. Y'all want to know? We did everything. We built the furniture. We moved the furniture. We
yes, you do.
We laid
Your mama did. Your mama.
We fixing anything that breaks. Salt and yourself.
They don't need no 2 men in a truck, honey.
You are truck.
They don't need no 2 men in a truck.
Okay. We did it all. So that's what I got. I got the, you know, I can do this by myself. I'm independent. I'm just as strong. I can whatever. So with me dating, I've always been guarded because for me, I don't have, well, I'm not gonna say I don't have a father figure, but technically I don't, because I don't even know I don't know my dad, as in I've talked to him 3 times in the 36 years that I've been living. So I don't know him. So a man coming in and out of the house is just my uncle. So it's not like, and then they weren't the best people to look up to be dating.
Right.
So when it came down to dating, I really didn't, I was just like, whatever. And I would date according to what the Cosby Show did, what Family Matters were doing. You know what I'm saying?
Images you saw in the media and on TV.
Exactly. So I was media dating. I didn't know how to do conflict. I didn't know how to like speak to a man in a respectful way. I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to speak to a lot of people in a respectful way. Just put that out there.
So do you think, Cherie, it's because, so when you date, do you think that you still have that mentality of being independent of what you initially saw growing up? Like,
correct.
You guarded, but that's more so of you thinking you have to do it all on your own. Do you think that you can really let go and give that man that responsibility to do those roles? Give him that energy. You know, basically put that responsibility on him.
We gotta give it.
Well,
you wait till you hear from me and Maggie, because we give you that energy, baby. Okay, go ahead.
Let me tell you, it took me a minute. I can say right now that I know my place as a woman. Like, I know my strengths as a woman, but I also know where to be submissive to a man. Not saying that I'm being submissive to any man because we're not married, but I know know when to be respectful. You know what I mean? I know when to let the man be a man in that particular situation at that time. That have been a learning curve for me, because I am built to be that strong woman that don't take no mess from nobody. I would tell any and everybody off and would not care. That's who I was. But it took some breaking down. Okay, home sis was being broke.
But that's what you needed, though, Cherie, because I feel like you have to break some things down to rebuild. So
you do. You do
the right thing.
You really, really do. And I really thought that marriage was crappy, to be honest, because of what I saw, even though I had you guys, but what stood out to me more was what I was living with. Right. So hindsight 2020, I'm like, oh, I did have so many, you know, respectful relationships that I could have went to and asked for help, that I could have looked at. But when you always get negative all the time, that's what you look at first. So even when positive is like staring you right in your face, you don't even see that, because your comfortable place is the negativity. And when you see the positivity, that's out of your comfort zone. So you're not going to go that way. You're not going to ask those questions. You're not going to try to change anything that you're doing.
And your subconscious probably is telling you, just do it yourself. Just be independent. Fight through it. Do it yourself. Keep going. Be strong. Yeah, it's hard to let your guard down once it goes up. I get what you're saying.
Right. So that's why I was forky too, and I was trash.
Forky. Bring it back in. Bring it back in.
That's exactly where all that stems from. It stems from how I perceive relationships through my experiences. So I was not vulnerable. I was complete trash, and I gave you that look like, what you gonna do about it? Because you ain't gonna do nothing. And kept on about my business.
Yes.
Thank you, Sheree. Thank you for sharing.
Hello, because that's deep. That's deep to me.
You gotta admit where those things root from. So Maggie Victoria,
Maggie go. Maggie go.
Maggie. Well, my background is my parents have been together since they were like 20 and 23, right? So they've been together 50 plus years. So I grew up in a household where my parents were together. But you saw a marriage that good, bad, ugly, indifferent.
Okay. So you saw when they did have a problem.
Right. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. They let me see it all. Like, my parents were not the parents that would fight would argue in the room and then come back down and act like everything was okay. Right?
They'll let you know real quick.
So they let me see the breadth of their relationship. Yes. And so I saw, and to Sheree's point, and we're all the babies of our families, right?
We are.
Spoiled certain
families.
We are. So that's another topic, but we are all the babies of our families. And, being able to see that and see the breadth of a relationship, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And Sheree saying she came from that strong woman household, honey, Gloria don't back down for nobody. So she don't, right? So I grew up in a household with a very strong woman, but I saw her submit to my dad when she knew she needed to. Like, like, my dad is the head of the household, and I saw the times when my mom was like, I'm following your daddy all day. Like, this is, and so I saw those examples of how you are to submit, how, we are strong women, but sometimes we got to shut up and fall in line, right? So I saw, and you know what? Even through all of that, I feel like commitment scares me, because it is a lot of work.
Hold on. Stop right there. Stop.
That's good. That is good.
Wow. Maggie,
that's
stop
good.
Right there. Now, hold on. We're going to bring it back. Hold on, Maggie.
Wow.
You said on the first show, which you guys should go back and watch the others,
you were ready
that you could not find a guy to commit. Do you think that you not having time to commit, the guy's not finding a guy to commit is some of who you are?
Come on. Yes.
Okay. Come through.
For sure. I said definitely in my 20s, I was not ready to commit. Like, I was not, and I'm sure I was putting that energy out there. Now, I do think I'm ready to commit. I know I'm ready to commit, but I know it's a lot of work. And so, do I still have that fear? Probably. Is that one of those defense mechanisms of saying, I don't want to fail. I don't want to be in a failed relationship. So does that keep me from not being vulnerable and not being transparent with people? Right. And I'm not going to this call today because that doesn't
I'm just saying.
Right.
But,
is it commitment though, Maggie? Or is it, no, I was about to say, is it really commitment, or is it you don't want him to lead if you don't see certain, is it that you don't want him to lead? So is it
Or it's like rejection.
I see you.
That's called control.
Right. That is it commitment
control,
or is it you kind of you see that pushback? You want to leave. You know the right.
You already know,
do,
honey.
But are you
already
gonna
know what
let
them
go and let him lead?
That's right.
And then follow. Because
that's right.
You know, you do a lot of commitment things. You commit your mind to things. You're set on it.
To church.
You know, you beg. Assure yourself. So, you know, is it that you scared that the relationship might fall if he leads you in the wrong direction or, you know, leads you down a different path?
You know, that is a great question, Tanya. That whole question around because I know I struggle with control. I'll be like, we gonna be 100.
We are.
I have a control problem. And I like things to be the way they are. Like I like a certain way, right? But I've learned that you have to let a man, like Cherie said, you have to let a man be in their place. Like one of my ex-boyfriend's moms told me, just because you can do it doesn't mean you need to. You need to let that you need his help or he can help with these certain things. And I looked at her and I remember, honey, we was eating at Chick-fil-A. And I was like, but I don't want to have to ask him. But I understand what you're saying. I understand I have to step back. And
that's right, Maggie. That's right.
Like, you know, I need your help. And so I have to get out of my own way. And through those past 3, 4, 5 years, I am ready to relinquish.
That's right.
And ask
That's
for
right.
help because, like you said, we're independent women.
That's right.
And although I will say this, y'all, as an independent woman, I hate taking out the trash. And I think that is a man's job.
I
know how to put down towel. I will not do it. You can have it, sir. I know how to cut it down.
Right. And you can wash the car, you can pump the gas, you can do all that.
Right.
All of that. If that's what we're gonna do, you can do that.
But definitely, Tanya, to your point, I think control might be something that definitely worked on in the past few years. I think seeing my parents and seeing that it can work and seeing the example of a strong woman submit to a man who follows the Lord and is going somewhere.
That's right.
Submit, right? So it might be that fear and control of who are we dealing with or who have I dealt with that I don't trust that you can. That's right. So that trust is a big thing, and seeing it in your actions that, okay, you can follow him and be vulnerable and let him lead. So I think that's another thing with that control. Because to your point, I trust myself. Do I trust you? You have to build that. That's
great. That's good for you, Maggie.
Maggie, up, Vicky.
This is what we're gonna do. And plus, you know what? This is why I love my friends, because you're honest with yourself. That's the beginning of a relationship. You got to be honest with your flaws and what you do and what you don't do in order to let somebody else in. Because then the worst is if you let them in and you don't know who you are. So Maggie, kudos. Cherie, kudos. Tanya, kudos. So let me just, I guess I'll wrap it up and say this. I'm actually just like Maggie. My parents been together forever, and my parents happen to be political figures, whatever. They're always in the limelight. They always doing this, going on, they going on trips, they going on, whatever. Right. Okay? I'm grateful, but I know sometimes I'm gonna be honest. Like I love my parents. Like we go on trips, we cool. Of course, it's gonna change when my husband come, but he'll come too. How about that? He'll come too. He can come too. We'll do that. But the thing is, I love them, but I think Maggie, one of y'all told me, you gotta stop hanging around your parents like that, because it's not a group of people. They got their thing, and my parents, they spoil. We have spoiled our parents. I know I've spoiled my parents to think that we just a happy, okay, let's go out to eat. Maggie, y'all know I stay with when I moved out, I see them all the time, more than I did when I was living there. And I think that has a lot to do with how I date. I'm always thinking about them, what they doing, and I date dudes and I say, tag them. Is my mom and them gonna like them? Because our parents get on our nerves, but we always think about, we want our parents to like the guy. We just do. We want them to fold into our friends, fold into our family. And then but so for me, I think I just have trust issues. I'm like Maggie, all of y'all, I think I don't trust for you to do what you're gonna do, because I had so many people lie and misuse my trust. So I pretty much carried it on from person to person, because if I see any glimmer of what somebody else did to me, oh, you going in that same box. Right. I already know what you're gonna do. I know, and I don't give them time to redeem themselves. Right. So, you know, it's a process, but I think that just opening up this conversation for everyone is we're learning and we're actually getting there. This is the first step of us being honest. Like, look, I need help. Like y'all said, I don't like taking out the trash. I don't like none of that. I don't like pumping the gas. Right. If my car is broke down, who do I call? My daddy. If something's going on, I trust.
Exactly, girl.
I'm just saying the truth. If stuff is broke, who do I call? My daddy. I don't call men, because why? I don't trust them to do what I know my dad will do. Yeah. That's just what it boils down to, because I'm telling you, if I call you and you don't answer one time, we're done. That means that I ain't gonna never call you again, because I'm gonna say, oh, you're never there when I need you. You're never there when I needed you. Which is not fair.
You know what? Our daddies have set good examples and bars as women. Let me tell y'all one quick story, y'all.
Go ahead. We listening, girl.
Was leaving out of a building, out of a place, and my parents happened to be there. And I was getting in the vehicle with my ex-boyfriend. Y'all, my daddy opens the door for my mama, regardless of if they leave the house, leaving the church, whatever.
That's right.
Y'all, I was opening my own door, and my daddy was like, and he was probably like 200 feet away. Meg, I know you're not opening your own door. Do you know how embarrassed I felt? Like, my daddy, this man that I've seen open every door all the time for my mom, and for him to see me with a guy that was not willing for it. I should not say the guy wasn't willing. I have not said that
he got to be trained
or even told him that, hey, can you open the door for me? So I felt so embarrassed, but at the same time, daddy growing up is, you know, back in the years, like, every man doesn't have to open the door. Like, I can open my own door in this instance. If we're dressy and going out, maybe that's a different, you know, you're opening the door and fancy. So maybe it's different experiences, right? Just because I always saw my dad do that doesn't mean my man always has to open a car door for me. But that's what I saw. So my daddy shook me to reality, and I really felt I had to, you know, what do I really believe?
Never happened again.
What do I really think is right, and what are my expectations? Once again, what's that perception of what we grew up with? And is it okay for us not to have that, you know, in our relationship, or is it not? So, yeah.
So we definitely, that needs to be a part 2, actually. This conversation is good. So we're going to make it a part 2.
Yes, we need to make it.
I feel like there's so much to say. There's so much
to say. Times changed where at those times changed where that's what we saw. Those that's what we perceive to be good relationships. Those are good relationships. Yes. But can those things change? And are you willing to allow those, you know, changes to take place? Or are you going to stick to your guns and be that independent woman and being like, I can open my car door, I can take out the trash, I can do the dishes. You ain't gonna fix my car? You know what? I ain't gonna call and ask you, because I ain't seen you.
Because I already know.
But the thing is too, you know, even if they can't do it, they might be able to find somebody who could do it too. So you're right. Give them that opportunity. So that's a good thing to discuss on our next show if we come back to that. Yes. So make sure y'all tune in.
Yes. Okay, guys, don't forget. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, our page, The Waiting Game, Chapter 35. And let me just, on Instagram as well. Yes, thank you. Also, let me just say this. I have to say this because of my blood. My parents would be like, what? But in the words of Jennifer Lewis, y'all know Jennifer Lewis, she's an actor. And she's really crazy and kooky, and I love her. And this is what she said. Get your ass out and vote, okay? Get your ass out and vote. I know we mad. I know Yep, me too. Boom.
I voted too. Early voting. Today was the last day.
That's what I'm talking about.
But you get out and vote. Voting, but June 9th.
Yep.
If you're not sure to vote for, go on and just Google it, y'all. We have the internet. Google it and see who you like. See what these people are about, because now's the time.
Yes, I know we're mad.
Right.
Yes,
Research. Don't just be like, this person looks good. This person did that. No.
Oh, they black, so why don't we vote for you? Yeah.
Right. No. Research.
Get out there, vote. I know everybody is mad and they protesting, but this is the thing, because that's a whole nother conversation.
Don't get distracted.
If you're in a protest. Don't be distracted. You need to realize you still got to vote.
That's
you
right.
got to vote, at least locally. Now, of course, you need to vote all together, but locally, you have the control over who gets there and who's doing the right thing. Right. So we love y'all. Thank y'all for coming again, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
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 Be safe,
y'all.
See y'all later.
See ya. It's still recording, but we can get on and out of here.